so I can see.
Okay. Hitting live.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's so nice to be with you tonight. I'm here with my colleagues, and I'll let them introduce themselves. I'm Rabbi Sharon Henry, and I'm delighted to be with you tonight.
I'm Molly May. I'm the cantorial soloist. I invite you all to grab hold of your candles, whatever you've got, and your kiddush cups and your bread, your challah. I've been making challah every week. It's really nice to be together, and I know that you're out there with us too.
Hi, Olivia Tucker, Shabbat Shalom, running our tech tonight.
And I'm Don McGahan, and Shabbat Shalom to you. We're going to start with Hini Matov because we're just glad to be here all together right here and right now. So we're on page 10 if you have your prayer book, and we'll sing Hini Matov together. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, 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 shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, yadarai, yadadadadadai. Hine matov, yadarai, yadadadadadai. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
We'll light our Shabbat candles together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Okay, on page 13 in the Siddur is Psalm 96. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash. Shiru Ladonai, Kol haaretz. page 20 in the Siddur is L'cha Dodi. This is where we welcome Shabbat, the beauty of Shabbat, as if Shabbat were a lovely bride. And we'll be singing verses 1, 2, 5, 8, and 9. Seems like a lot. Just get myself organized here.
If we were in person, which we will be someday, we would have this opportunity to walk around the sanctuary and shake hands, wish one another Shabbat Shalom. So I invite you to enter into the comment section, Shabbat Shalom, maybe where you're from. We can't see it. The service leaders can't see it, but those of you that are watching on Facebook or on YouTube can. And then we continue with Tzadikat Tamar on page 22 from Psalm 92.
And it is the indented section of the text on the page, and so I'm going to accompany you.
make a transition from the Kabbalat Shabbat to the evening service on page 26. Yitgadol ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Ve'alma divrei chirutei ve'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon v'yom echon U'chol Beit Yisrael Bagala bagala ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו אלא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ויאמרו Amen. We rise as we're able in body or spirit, facing towards the east all together, with Baruch Hu, the call to worship on page 28. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
And on page 31, praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Ma'ariv Aravim.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Adonai Elohecha b'chol לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
אדוני יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Hashivenu, our people's nighttime prayer, on page 42.
Shalom.
continue on the next page, on page 44, with V'shamaru. V'shamaru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam beni uven b'nei Yisrael oti leolam leolam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz uvayom ha'shevi Shabbat vayinafash.
The Amidah begins on page 46, and we will continue after this meditation with our own silent Amidah, and we will conclude on page 60 with Petach Libi.
That was Petach Libi, open up my heart. So we come to that part in our service where we open our hearts to those in our community, our families, our friends, who are in need of healing, healing of body, healing of spirit. We have a list that I'll share. We're so aware that there are others throughout the world whose names we don't know, who on this Shabbat are in need of healing. Still much sickness, there's still a lot of pain and loneliness. And we open our hearts to all of those who are in need of healing. Especially thinking of Nancy Berkowitz, Millard Balloon, Olivia Burton, Naum Kaplan, Iba Chaika Bat Rosa, Olivia Claire Takchev, Lee Kramer, Lev Podorowski, Maria Pukchansky, Zev Ben Simcha, Elchanan Ben Chaya. If you have a name that you'd like to put into the chat or into the comments in YouTube, please do that. We won't be able to see them there, but there is some research out there that suggests that when people have Misha Berachsam for them, even if they don't know about it, they feel a little bit more connected. Misha Berach.
As we sing, we remember that the first paragraph is for us and how we can be for other people. Please join me. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to go ahead and adjust my camera a little more. It's one of those things. Ki kol ha'eda kulam kedoshim uvatocham Adonai. Umadua titnasu al kahal Adonai. This is from Numbers 16, verse 3. All the community are all holy, and God is within them. So why do you place yourself above the assembly of God? In Parshat Korach, we read about how Korach, along with Datan and Aviram, assembles a group of about 250 men to challenge the authority of Moses and Aaron. They fail, and the ground swallows them up. Now that makes me really uncomfortable, but hold that thought. We recall this rebellion and we talk about it in terms of not being machloket l'shem shamayim, an argument for the sake of heaven, and that this incident is the classic example of what not to do. Okay, it's one of the 6 episodes that we are supposed to recall each day. Leaving Egypt, Amalek, those guys, standing at Sinai, the golden calf, the rebellion of Korach, and the first gift, which is that of Shabbat. Our Siddur has this list printed in more detail on page 87 or page 205 in the bracketed numbers if you'd like to go take a look. It's at the bottom of the page. It says to remember this event in order that we not be blinded by ego. Looking at this incident with Korach in the context of the book of Bamidbar, it is peak stress for Moses. In Bahalotecha, the portion from 2 weeks ago, the temple service is established for all the Levites, and the people complain bitterly about the food. God sends quail, a lot of it, and some people who eat too much die of the plague. The scene is pretty graphic and gross. And then Aaron and Miriam speak ill of Moses and his wife, and Miriam gets leprosy, so everyone waits until she can come back into the camp again, which is quite nice of them. In last week's portion, Shalach Lecha, the people of Israel get the very disappointing news that they aren't going to the land after all. This was after the scouting mission where 12 men were sent ahead to see what the land would look like, and 10 gave bad reports. God just wanted to smite them all because they fetched too much. But Moses appeals to God's ego, kind of, which is really strange and runs contrary to the reason that we recall the story of Korach. He said, "Why would you bring these people out of Egypt and then kill them all? Word would get around that you couldn't deliver them to the land, even after all the signs and wonders." God agrees, instead of smiting, to have the people wander for 40 years so that only their children, and not those who left Egypt, would enter the land. So the 12 scouts from last week's story, 10 of them, the ones who brought the bad report, died of the plague by the will of the Lord. We don't usually talk about that part. And then in the same parsha, a man was stoned to death for gathering wood on the Sabbath. And then right after that, at the end of the parsha, we are instructed to put fringes on our garments. Tzitzit, which seems to come out of nowhere, but it doesn't come out of nowhere, but it's followed right away by the story of Korach and his rebellion. So Korach was among the Levites whose temple service was established 2 portions ago. Korach, son of Yitzhar, son of Kahat, son of Levi. And then there was Moshe, son of Amram, son of Kahat, son of Levi. They were first cousins, Korach and Moses and Aaron. And they were Levites. So was this a family feud? The Levites were the family from whom the priests were taken. They had some of the power, and they didn't have the same, the same glory. They were in charge of temple service duties, and in this parsha, it also says that they guarded the temple so that no others would enter so that they wouldn't die. That only certain people of that same lineage were the priests, and that's Aaron and his family. So back in the context of the story, Korach was going for the power grab in a situation where Moses is exhausted. So I would love to know exactly what Korach was referencing when he said, Rav Lachem, you're too much, or you've gone too far. Rav Lachem, ki kol ha'eda kulam kedoshim. You've gone too far. All the community are holy and God is within them, so why do you place yourself above us? What triggered this? Was Korach concerned about fringed garments, stoning a man to death for cutting wood on the Sabbath, or the idea that he would not be able to enter the new land at all? I mean, there's so much going on with our people at this point, and then the ground swallows up Korach and his followers. It's only a small part of this really stressful and traumatic story. Immediately after the ground swallows up Korach and 249 of his closest friends, 14,700 people died of the plague. And then Aaron made an offering to stand between the living and the dead and stop the plague. But there's a lot of damage and loss in this parsha, and in these few parshiot, like right around here, there's a lot of damage and loss and trauma. It's difficult for us as modern Jews, as modern people, to conceive of a situation where somebody would challenge authority and then the ground would just swallow them up. You know, as I said, the main event of this story bothers me. You know, we make an example of these people who, they weren't having an argument for the sake of heaven, and sometimes it feels like we gloss over the trauma of the ground opening up and all these people dying and what that must have done to the people who were left. Or those who survived after 14,700 people died of the plague. But in confronting uncomfortable texts, we don't necessarily need to solve for them like they're a mathematical equation. We don't need to rationalize them, and we shouldn't really avoid them. So what do we do? You know, Ki kol ha'eda kulam kedoshim uvatocham Adonai. All of the congregation is holy, and God is within them. Maybe it was a matter of bad timing. Perhaps when Korach, that part is right. You know, the congregation is holy and God is within all of them. Maybe he shouldn't have asked that additional question. Why do you place yourself above the Lord's assembly, as he himself was trying to place himself above the Lord's assembly? Perhaps it's a matter of intent versus impact. Korach may not have fully realized that maybe if Moses and God, for that matter, were a little less stressed out, they would have been able to skip all of this and then go right to the part where all the tribal leaders placed their staffs out overnight and Aaron's grew almonds. Same results, less death. There's a matter of perspective and perception. We read the story today knowing that eventually the descendants of these Israelites, our ancestors, make it to the land. We read this story knowing that 2 portions ago we got in trouble for complaining about the food. It goes beyond that, but 2 portions from now, we are described as those who must be blessed because the Lord has blessed us. And that's where we get the text from Matovu. I explored this question with young students, even as young as 5 or 6. Why do we restart the Torah every year? It's the same book. Now, I lead them to an understanding that while the Torah text may not be different, we are different. Every year we grow, particularly as children, because when we first have this conversation, the kids are about the size of a Torah. So I'm celebrating 27 years since I read this portion as a bat mitzvah, and I'm certain that I didn't have this much to say about it back then. I'm not trying to make Korach into the good guy, nor would I presume to make excuses for him. But whether Korach believed he could seize power, or whether he was just another whining family member and his attitude was just the straw that broke the camel's back, we should take to heart the idea that if the impact of our words and actions doesn't go as we planned, it doesn't matter much what our intentions were. We're called to act with integrity, to consider each other's situations and stories, and to be judicious with our words. And perhaps to stop at the right part of the sentence. Ki kol ha'ida kulam kedoshim uvatocham Adonai, because all of the assembly is holy and God is within them. Shabbat Shalom. So we'll continue then with Aleinu, which is found on page 282, and I'm going to briefly mute so that I can rise and adjust my camera, and you may want to do the same. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך hu. On page 287, may we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved, each of us, for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Kaddish is on page 294. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every nation, every race, whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we hold in our hearts those recently taken from our midst: Eleanor Tucker Argentar, Robert Buck Sr., Gladys Estelle Bronstein Burstein, Gary Goldhammer, Lucille Cohen Gordon, Susan H. Kantorowitz, Martin C. Sloan, Barry Salyar. We also remember those who died at the season in years past and whose yahrzeit we observe on this Shabbat: Dr. Lee Bass, Marion Bass, Lillian Brest, June Whitehill Dukart, Jean Feynman, Phyllis Goldstein, Barbara Goodman Horowitz, June Jonas, Harry Wallace Keeman, Eugene Klein, Charles Lovner, Samuel Prezant, Doris Deaney Robinson, Bernard Barry Silverman, Hilary Smith, William Stein Sr., Sharon Yamron, Marilyn Weisenbaum. Just add any names, anyone who you're remembering, into the comment section. Zichronam livracha. May all their memories be for blessing. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. I'm actually going to stop. I'm sorry. Please unmute. I'd like to ask my team members to unmute if they can, so that we can say Kaddish. And as I said before, I think I said it doesn't sound like a symphony. It sounds like Kaddish, even though at different times. Itkadal
Dal Vikadash Sheme Rabba
V'Yamad
Yamad Yivrachute
Amid
Yamlich Machote
B'Chayachon V'Yamecha
Yomechon
Kaye Tekol
Kol
Beit
Beit Yisrael
Yodlah
Agalav Izman Kuriv Yimru
Amen.
V'Hei Shmei
Shme
Rabba Mevorach
Barach
Alam, amen.
Ome Omaya
Yitzbarach V'Yishab
Yishabach
V'Yitadar
Man Vitnase
V'Yitala
Vitalal
V'Shmei Tekudashah
Richu
Leila Min
Mikol Birchata Bashirata Tushbechata Benechemata
Yan
Damiran Yama Yimru
Amen.
V'Hei Shlama Rabba
Rabba Mim Shemaya
Hayim Aleinu V'Yakov
Israel
Amen. Oseh Shalom
Shalom
B'Nai
Birma
Yaseh Shalom
Yas Shalom
L'Kol Yisrael L'Kol Yisrei Tevel B'Imru Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom imroma, uyaseh shalom, alinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Going to share some announcements for the week to come. After our service concludes, the Zoom Oneg will begin. The link is in the description for the video that you're watching right now. This week, we have our Talmud class with Rabbi Tuckman on Wednesday night, as well as the Christian-Jewish dialogue on Thursday at noon. And rescheduled is our music and culture at home with Matthew Falcone talking about preservation, historical preservation, which was supposed to be this Thursday. Slight miscommunication, so join us and learn about historic preservation with Matthew Falcone on Thursday. The regular events continue throughout the week. Tiferet meditation on Tuesdays at 6 p.m., Sundays at 4 p.m., the sewing and knitting group at 11 on Tuesdays, and the pre-Shabbat sip and schmooze from the Women of Rodef Shalom at 4 o'clock on Fridays. Note that Torah and Our Times is not going to meet this week. Rabbi Bisno is taking some time this summer. So if any of these events, you're not getting all of these events, the links to them are in the Shalomogram. If you're not receiving the Shalomogram, please let us know and we will get you connected and make sure that we can all be together. As we get our if we get our challah and our kiddush together, Molly is going to lead us in Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharetz, Malachei Elyon, Hi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bo'achem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Barakuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Seitchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kiddush is on page 5 in your Siddur. Hello, children.
Hi.
Hi.
Prayers with the family.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava uvratzon inchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Ki banu v'charta, ve'otanu kidasha, mikol ha'olim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Grab that.
Grab it. Get that bread.
Get that bread. Ha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Bate avon.
Wait, like that note, huh?
Yes, it does.
All right,
I
thanks.
Shabbat shalom.
No, we get a piece too.
No, all mine.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. See you in the Zoom Oneg.
We just stay here, right? Or no? Do we have to go to a different place?
Another link. See y'all
And-
soon.